How did Graffiti Rock come about?
Well, in 1981 or 1980, I'm already 1981, I'd say. I'm already full-blown into being a hip-hop impresario. You know, bringing b-boys, crews downtown to perform in clubs, getting gigs for Bambaataa and Ike C and Jazzy J and Red Alert. I'm already mixing stuff up. And then it occurred to me that it would be really incredible to get this on television. I saw that it was going to be big. I didn't know how big, but I knew it would be big. And what I did at first was I was videotaping a lot of breakdancers, number one. I was filming them because in a way they were really the lost leaders of hip-hop. If it wasn't for the breakdancers and people's interest in what people were doing on the ground and dancing in these incredible moves, all the other elements of hip-hop wouldn't have had a break. Breakdancing opened the door. And through people like me who were filming it and showing these films, people got really excited about that. And so I would get these tapes that I was making onto cable television. New York City has a cable network back then that was very, very low budget and very local. It wasn't like, MTV. It was just just around the New York City area. And so I would put together these half-hour shows. I would cut together on video with opening credits, and I'd do little interviews, and I'd film kids dancing in a nightclub situation. It was actually a school of visual arts. I'd film DJs and MCs and breakdancers and graffiti artists, and I'd make these little half-hour shows, and I'd put them on cable TV. And I did this for a couple of years. Then I realized, okay, this has to go to the next level. This has to go to be like, the American Bandstand of hip-hop. I want to create something like that. And I worked on it, sometimes I look back, I can't even believe I did it, because it seems almost impossible. But, I found some interested backers, the people who were actually behind New Edition. These investment bankers who had the record company that put New Edition's records out, heard about me and approached me and said, we'd like to help you make your dreams come true. And I just couldn't believe it because they understood that this was going to be big as well. We got a limited number of investors. I wrote and designed the show. I knew that I would be in a studio with a lot of graffiti and dancing, with a DJ, with MC performances, with breakdancers, etc., and graffiti. And I sort of like mapped out the show. I actually didn't plan on being the host. I was trying to get Mr. Magic or Fab Five Freddy to be the host of the show, but it was so early in the process that, I knew that I needed to get the show out there, and then I could get the host that I wanted, so I had to be the host. And, the show, sometimes I get a little bit of ribbing for the fact that the show is kind of designed to appeal to all ages. It's not gangster rap or anything. It's not hardcore. But what people don't understand is that I was capturing rap as it was at the time and hip-hop as it was at the time. There was no gangster rap at the time. It didn't exist. You know what I'm saying? So, and I really wanted the show to appeal to every age group. And so I made it have like a certain amount of innocence, and I made it have a certain amount of clean cutness. As a matter of fact, if it didn't have that clean cutness, it wouldn't have got on the air. Right. I was told by the backers that that the station managers and all the people they were really against showing black kids in general at all, even polite, nice black kids. So the idea of having like any hardcore gangster rap exposure on that show, it just wouldn't have happened. Couldn't have got it on the air. Now you can do it easily, but people didn't understand back then. Nobody even knew what rap or hip hop was. They were not going to have, any street-looking kids coming on their TV. It was not going to happen. To the degree that I had it look street, I'm happy I got away with what I did. But here's the important thing. By making it appeal to all ages, I laid the groundwork vis-a-vis Graffiti Rock, or Graffiti Rock, I should say, laid the groundwork to bringing in a massive audience for all the rappers and MCs now who are like making, billions of dollars around the world collectively. A lot of that I have to take credit, and Graffiti Rock has to take credit for building a groundwork of young kids getting into this movement who now are, maybe in their 30s, 20s or 30s, who saw Graffiti Rock as a kid. I built like a real market for hip hop vis-a-vis Graffiti Rock, and I'm proud that I did.
Because I definitely, after seeing clips of it on YouTube, I'm like, man, I wish I would have grown up in the tri-state area so I could watch that along with Uncle Ralph and Lionel the Vid Kid with Video Music Box.
Well, the interesting thing about Graffiti Rock is when I made the first episode, starring Run DMC, New York City City Breakers, Kool Moe Dee, Special K, the Treacherous Three, Debbie Mazar's in there, Vincent Gallo's in there. When I first made it, we took it, it aired in 88 markets around the country. The airing did really well. It got really great ratings on syndicated television, so it was regular TV, not cable. And then we went to Vegas to sell it. You have to go to Vegas every year. They have this NAPTE, which is National Association of Producers of Television Entertainment. It's like a convention where people buy booths and they set up a booth and they show the pilot of the latest show that they've created and hope to sell their show to different station managers around the country. And we did that 2 years in a row. And both years, this would be 84 and 85, the station managers didn't want to buy the series because they claimed that, this rap is a passing fad. It's never going to last. And I was like, no, that's not true. It's going to be a huge thing. And, of course, after 2 years of getting rejected and people thinking that rap was not going to last and hip-hop was not going to last, I became a little disillusioned and went back to, to film school. But it was difficult back then to convince people, which I guess is kind of a surprise to people listening now. It was very difficult back then to convince people that hip-hop and rap was going to still be around the next year.
Yeah, because definitely that. When I saw the clips, I'm like, it's the hip-hop Soul Train, and it would have been a nice little 1-2 punch on Saturday mornings. You have Soul Train, then Graffiti Rock, or Graffiti Rock, then Soul Train.
Yeah, I mean, believe me, I had dreams of what I was going to do when Graffiti Rock got picked up. I was so sure that it would, and I was going to build an empire around that show, believe me.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't happen. I was too ahead of my time, basically.
Definitely you were. Now, what was your opinion on, like, when Def Jam, Russell Simmons came along and Run DMC with the Adidas thing? That was like 85, 86, that when I think the mainstream people really started to take note and feel that they can make sure that rap goes commercial.
What did I think about it?
Yeah, when DMC and Def Jam came along and then the mainstream audience started to take notice.
Well, at that point, it was just, you could just feel it, that hip-hop was like a steamroller. Like, even at that point, we weren't sure how, still wasn't sure, even at the point of doing that song, that rap was going to be as big as it is now. No way. No one was sure. But because when they did My Adidas, that was really the first time that there was this marriage between the culture of hip-hop and commercialism. Up until then, it was all still very underground. And even when they came out with My Adidas still didn't pay that much attention. It wasn't until after the song did so well and when people would go to concerts and take off their Adidas sneakers and hold them up in the air, that Adidas said, maybe there's something here. And other people started to follow suit. If I had done Graffiti Rock 2 years, 3 years after I'd actually done it, I might have succeeded a little better. But it was still just bubbling up.
Definitely that. Now, what was your opinion on what Teddy Riley did with New Jack Swing, where he took hip-hop and R&B and infused them together?
I can't really say much about that. I didn't really pay much attention.
Right. Let's talk about freestyle. All right. What was your opinion on freestyle acts like Lisa and the Cult Jam, Pajama Party, TKA, Joy Sims?
Well, it was interesting. It was like you have to keep in mind, this is more of a freestyle, as you call it. I'd never really thought of it in those terms. But like Lisa and the Cult Jam and bands like that eventually kind of moved into what we called Weibo music or funhouse music, which kind of Planet Rock eventually became. I would say that, you see, when hip hop first started coming out, and then eventually in the mid '80s when Lisa and the Cult Jam was happening, rap music still wasn't as big as Lisa and the Cult Jam. I mean, they were more commercial, they were more accessible, they were less dangerous, they were less gangster. And that type of music and that type of R&B, Tina Marie and you know what I mean, the Gap Band, that music was still dominating. Rap was small compared to that. Rap was still not on the radio until like late at night. So rap was still not the dominant force that it was when what did you call that music again?
Freestyle.
When freestyle music came out, rap music still wasn't recognized for the power that it is now. It was, there was all kinds of music out. There was a little bit of rap, there was some freestyle, there was still a lot of new wave, there was all kinds of music out. It wasn't like it is now where it's like, it seems to me, just rap. you know.
Then it was like until '92, it was like a West Coast bias. It was like West Coast acts wasn't getting a lot of love from the East Coast until NWA and Dr. Dre broke through.